what's up? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Derica and you are watching Chef Love with D. Happy New Year's Eve. Today is New Year's Eve, December 31st, and I'm recording this video real quick, hoping to kind of do a rapid fire of my top reads of 2025. Now altogether, I believe I read about 88 books if I'm not mistaken, so it was hard for me to narrow down my fave reads. So I tried to go over my list and really pick those books that left an impression on me, that I remember just sitting there staring at the wall, replaying it, and just felt all the feels. With that being said, out of 88, I still ended up with about 22 books. I do not want to cram 22 books into this video. For one, it would be too long and not fun to edit. So I'm going to do a part 1 and part 2 of my favorite reads of 2025, because if you know me, it is hard for me to choose a favorite anything. That is something I've been working on, been trying not to overthink. Like, girl, you like what you like. You know, if it's 5 things that you like those things, and it's okay. Don't think about who got left out, whose feelings may be hurt, who doesn't agree. Pick what you like. With that being said, it was still very hard for me to narrow it down. Nonetheless, we got 22 books that I read in 2025 that really left an impression on me, that I would read again, that I would recommend. So I want to put these out there. Some of them you may have heard of. Some of them you may have heard of, and some of them may be new to you. So I would like to put these books on your radar for you to add to your TBR, especially if they are ones that are not so popular or that you have not heard of. These books are in no particular order. It's not from least to greatest. It's just books that I enjoyed reading this past year, point blank period. Some of them I have written reviews on Goodreads, and if I have a review for it, I would read it on here for you guys, just to kind of remember, just to share my thoughts and feelings with you guys of what I thought of the book at the time that I read it, especially because a good amount of these were read earlier this year, so it's kind of hard for me to remember exactly how I felt in the moment. I know towards the latter part of the year, I stopped doing reviews and just started doing ratings, because I realized, like, I'm not a reviewer per se. I like to share the books that I read, but I don't have to review every single one, but I can give it a star rating. So that's what I did with some of these. I just started putting a star rating and not giving a full typed out review. The first book up on my top reads of 2025 is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I'll put it up on the screen for you guys to review that cover and the details of that. It says, in her 20s, Emma Blair marries her high school sweetheart, Jessie. They build a life for themselves. Everything is great. For some reason, on their first anniversary, Jessie is on a helicopter over the Pacific, and then he goes missing. Just like that, Jessie is gone forever. Emma quits her job, moves back home, trying to get her life together, and years later, in her 30s, she runs into an old friend named Sam and finds herself falling in love again. Oh, sweet, right? That is until Jessie is found. And keep up with me, Jessie is her husband, is her one true love who went missing over the Pacific. So he is found alive, and he's been trying for all these years to get back home to her. So kind of like, what's that movie with Tom Hanks? Castaway situation. So it says he's been trying to find his way back home with a husband and a fiance. Emma has to now figure out who she wants, who she is, while trying to protect the ones she loves. I rated this book 5 stars, y'all. This book was so good. I am a big romance girly in the book world, but in life in general. So I could not imagine being put in a situation where I have two love of my life. And I've always been one of those people that's like, how are you in love with 2 people at the same time? This is the perfect example, and the only example I probably will ever fall for, because she loved her husband. She wanted to spend her life with him, but when he went missing, she had no choice but to try to pick herself up, put her big girl panties on, live again and love again. So then she found someone else who she fell in love with, and what is crazy is that they are opposites. Who she is with Jessie is not the same person that she is with Sam. So it's also 2 different types of loves. Like, y'all, this book was so good. If you have not read it, please add it to your TBR and read it as soon as you can, and let me know your thoughts. Okay, so moving on to the next book up that I read and enjoyed was Yellowface, and I'm not really sure how to pronounce this author. I think it is R.F. Kuang. I'll put it up on the screen for you guys to review. I really enjoyed this book, and I noticed, per usual, that this book had mixed reviews, but it was one that I enjoyed. It looks like I gave this book 4 stars, and I wrote a review, or I wouldn't even call this a review, but it says 4 stars. Wow. And it had the exploding head. Just wow. Loved every minute of this read. So many twists and turns. Can't wait to read more by this author. Highly recommend read for sure. Okay, so it says here that authors Juniper Hayward and Athena Liu were supposed to be twin rising stars. It's coming back to me. But Athena is a literary darling while June is a nobody. Who wants stories about basic white girls? June thinks. So when June witnesses Athena's death in a freak accident, she acts on impulse, stealing Athena's just finished masterpiece, an experimental novel about the unsung contribution of Chinese labor workers. So what if June edits Athena's novel and sends it to her agent as her own work? So what if she lets her new publisher rebrand her as Juniper Song, complete with an ambiguously epic author photo? This piece of history deserves to be told, whoever the teller. That is what June believes, and the New York Times bestseller list agrees. But June cannot escape Athena's shadow, and emerging evidence threatens her stolen success. As she races to protect her secret, she discovers exactly how far she will go to keep what she thinks she deserves. And now that it's coming back to me, I would probably change that rating to 5 stars, just because all the feelings are coming back from when I read that book. Y'all, that book is so good. So to basically sum it up, it is I want to say the girl is of Asian descent and the other girl is white. They are pretty good friends, but one of them, Athena, her writing career is taken off, and June, is it June or Jimmy? Okay, Juniper, aka June, and Athena. So Athena's career is taken off. Everything she's writing is just, best selling. And Juniper, aka June, is trying to still find her way. Well, all of a sudden there's a freak accident with Athena, and before Athena's death, she was sharing a story that she was working on with Juniper, aka June. And instead of being a truly good friend, a decent person, and just getting help and caring about the well-being of Athena, Juniper takes this opportunity to steal her unpublished book that she's working on and claims it for her own. And then based off of that book, she rebrands herself into someone of a different ethnicity. I don't think she ever comes right out and says what she is, but she leads her people to believe that she is of the Asian descent as well, and starts trying to live this life and basically be her version of Athena. And it's just crazy, y'all. It's such a good read. I would reread that again. But if you have not read Yellowface, y'all, it is a wild ride and such a different story premise. Like, I don't think I've read one like that before, so that was a little outside of my scope for what I normally reach for, but so glad that I read it and highly recommend. All right, so next book up is Abby Jimenez, Say You'll Remember Me. And if I am not mistaken, this was my first book by Abby Jimenez. Oh, I rated it 4.5 stars to be exact, according to my Goodreads, and I did not leave like a written out review. Say You'll Remember Me was such a cute read. So we have this blunt, unfiltered veterinarian, Xavier, and then we have this animal lover, Samantha. I cannot remember what her job is. I feel like it has something to do with social media, but I cannot remember. And her family means everything to her. So they have this encounter because Samantha has to bring an animal that she's trying to adopt or save to the clinic, and they run into each other. It's not a great first impression, but nonetheless they meet that way. Somehow or another they end up going on a date and kind of just fall for each other hard. It was just an instant connection, a fun one last date before Samantha has to move away. Well, Samantha lets him know that she has to move away to be there for her family. He's like shocked, like, what? Why would you open me up to all these feelings and then just run? Because he is not a person who dates or feels and does the whole emotional love thing. So this was like big for him. Well, Samantha has to go help take care of one of her family members because one of them is sick. And so they kind of they try to do this long distance thing, and she battles she battles with being there for her family, but also wanting, to find love and see where this goes. And they both have just touched the depths of each other that have not been touched before, have not been opened before. So they want to explore that, but neither one of them are in a position to give up where they are. I think the veterinarian has just opened up his business, so lots of things need to be paid, lots of people need to be paid, and then Samantha, her family needs her. She's like the glue to everything. So we get to watch how they try to navigate between family, themselves, life, and business, and balancing it all. It was a really good read, a really romantical read, like that will have you just like, oh, very, very cutesy read. Okay, so moving on to the next. The next book on my top reads of 2025 is Sweet Heat by Baloo Babaloa. I don't know how to properly pronounce her name, but of course the book will be up on the screen for you guys to read. This was book 2 of the series. Book 1 is called Honey and Spice, and that one I love. If you've not read Honey and Spice by her, please read it. I want to say I read that late last year, but she came out this year with Sweet Heat, and I really enjoyed this book. I would say I rated Honey and Spice like 5. I would say I rated Honey and Spice 5 stars, and Sweet Heat I rated 4 stars. I did write out a review on here, so I gave a memorable quote, which was, "My love for you is like poetry. I love you deep for many reasons, but also without reason." I said, compared to Honey and Spice, this one started slower for me. I found myself getting distracted initially around 20%, but the story really began to pick up as Malachi was reintroduced back into the story more consistently. And we got more interaction and dialogue between Kiki and him, which is what made us fall in love with Honey and Spice. It's a good ride, witty, funny, and well written with a slow pace initially, but then it begins to flow and gives us that R&B neo soul vibe that Baloo Babaloa does so well. I said some of the cons were the pacing, a bit uninteresting, hard to follow until about the 20% in, and the back and forth of let's talk, let's not. And the back and forth between the two main characters got a bit repetitive for me. But other than that, this was a good read. Sweet Heat and Honey and Spice both have a very strong R&B vibe to it. I mean, think of all those 90s R&B movies, all the 90s R&B songs. When you see those shirts and memes that say, if it doesn't feel like 90s R&B, I don't want it, that is Sweet Heat and Honey and Spice wrapped up into a nice little book bundle. I would definitely recommend reading Honey and Spice first, because you want to know how Malachi and Kiki came about, as well as their Brown Sugar podcast and things like that. Then jump into Sweet Heat. I enjoyed both. Of course, most times I enjoy book 1 or the first movie better than book 2 or the second movie. Nonetheless, they both were good reads, and I would highly recommend to go pick them up if you have not read them yet. All right, next one up is Aqueous. Aqueous was an NetGalley arc read, and I enjoyed it. I rated it 5 stars. This is my first dystopian type novel, so I was a little leery about reading it, but I really enjoyed it. I actually rated it 4.5 stars to be exact, based off my Goodreads rating. I listened to it, the audio of this book, and I want the hard copy and would love to do an immersive read. Why I would recommend audio, even if you have the physical, is because of the sound effects. It's because there's an Aqueous theme song that they sing throughout the book off and on, and I love it. It was stuck in my head for days. Like, after I read it, I wrote the author and was like, that song lives rent free in my head. Love it, love the book down. And I want to say this was her debut novel. She did really, really well. Really enjoyed it. So I would recommend an immersive read or an audio read. It just gave such a come to life experience, as if you were watching a movie or immersed into their world. Okay, so let's see. This was Jade Seibeck's debut novel. It says, on the eve of Earth's collapse, young Marisol is taken to live in an underwater Mersation? Okay, so young Marisol is taken to live in an underwater Mersation known as Aqueous with her parents not her own. There, she must compete in the trials, gruel tests designed to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of each trainee. Hoping to be assigned to the all-male elite diving team known as the Desperate to prove to herself, the residents, and all of their parents, dead and alive, that she is worthy of this prestigious placement, she works tirelessly to shatter misogynistic beliefs, only to discover that it was not only the men who constrained her. A much uglier untruth exists. Y'all, this was such a good read. Such a good read. Like, I was really impressed with this book, and it was just so interesting and so entertaining. It was giving all the feelings of Maze Runner or Hunger Games, things like that, where they have to, train and try to become a part of the elite team and things like that. But all while, like, this is an underwater world. I really, really enjoyed it. Very good storyline. Would recommend. Okay, so the next book up is The Love Haters by Catherine Center. I rated this book 4 stars. It says, I loved it here. This was a great read. I never read a book where body image had an enemies to lovers trope. I feel as though I learned so much, grew so much, and developed new perspectives. So this was a great ride for me. Highly recommend. It's a bit slow at first, but it gets better and better page after page. I feel very enlightened and empowered as a woman to love myself and to accept all of my everything because they are mine. And then my favorite quote was, love stories are the best kind of therapy. Love stories make us better at love in all directions. Getting better at love, of course, means getting better at life. This was such a cute read. It was my first Catherine Center book, and it just gives you all the good feels. I love that outside of it being a love story, it focused on a body image as well and how we view ourselves in comparison to how the people around us or the people who love us may view us. The woman was really hard on herself, but I love that we saw character growth, that by the middle end, she began to just accept her everything because it was hers. So yes, I may have flabby arms or a double chin or whatever, but it's mine and it's me and it's the makings of me. And I love that we got to see that growth and acceptance of her by the end of it, along with a cute little love story. So if you have not read this one, add it to your TBR list when you are needing the feelings of a good romance, but also some encouragement as a woman as well to love and accept yourself. So moving on to the next is The Girls Who Grew Big by Leila Motley. I gave that book 5 stars. And I think that book hit home for me because as a teen mom, I felt like it was authentically written. Some of the things that we go through as when we are teenage moms are trying to get our minds and our way of thinking and our way of being and doing to catch up with where we are in life as far as being a mother. And I feel like this book depicted that so well with these group of girls who are just trying to figure it out. And you have the one friend who she's mature, she's accepted, she's a mother, and she's ready to do any and everything for her children. You have the other friends who still wants to party, don't really want to be a mom, wasn't ready to be a mom. Then you have the other ones who she's doing the best that she can. Sometimes she makes the right decision, and then sometimes she throws them kids to the side and goes chase after a boy. But each one of the girls are who they are. You come to love them like you would a cousin, a niece, or a sister, and your heart goes out to them because they are truly just doing the best that they can with what they have while being in control of the life and childhood of these children as they themselves are trying to grow into adulthood. I really, really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it. I think it gives insight, especially for those who have a tendency to judge teenage moms or look down on them. Yes, we would all love for our children or ourselves to be in our 20s or 30s when we become mothers, when we are mentally and emotionally prepared. But these things like this happen every day, and more than anything, these girls need the encouragement and the love and sisterhood from women and from the women around us, instead of looking down on us and just automatically casting us to the side to be a stereotype. Because I am a proud mom of 5, and 2 of mine are in college. Well, one is in college now at a very good college, and the other is on their way. He just got two college acceptance letters, and doing great, honor roll students, and just amazing, and so proud of all my children, so proud of the mother that I am to them. But I remember when I was pregnant, a lot of noses were turned up at me, not only at the church, but just people around us. And then suddenly people didn't want their daughter hanging with me because I'm a bad influence. But the type of person that I was, yes, I made a mistake, but I was going to own up to it and be the best mom and person that I can be. And so I think this book just gives a lot of insight on that, and can help people who just, have a tendency to not understand. Like, it's life, it happens. But instead of tearing each other down or looking down on them, try to guide those girls. Try to be a mom to them, or be a big sister or mentor, and help them find their way. But keep in mind, they will make mistakes even as you're helping them. It's just a part of the journey, but none of us are perfect. All right, so next book up is Junie by Erin Eckstein. By Erin Crosby Eckstein. I believe that's how you say her name. This was her debut novel. I rated it 5 stars, y'all. This book was so good. It left me in a book hangover. Like, it was so hard for me to move on because I felt like Junie was a real person. Like, oh, I just loved it. It was a historical fiction book. And Junie was one of those people that just kind of refused to accept that she was a slave, that she was less than. And it's a story that has magical realism. Junie's sister dies early on in the book, and she feels that her sister is trying to communicate to her through the afterlife and kind of guide her. It's a story of love and romance. It's a story of hardship and endurance. It's just, you're going to feel so many things. You're going to be laughing one minute, about ready to cry the next minute, angry the next minute. It was well written, and I'm just shocked to know that this was a debut novel. Well done. Cannot wait to get it on my shelf. I've been waiting for the paperback to be published, which I think is March of next year or something like that. And then I will have it on my shelf. If you have read Junie, please let me know if it touched you the way that it touched me. Junie is forever in my heart, and I will probably read that book every year. So moving on to the next is Bees in June. This was a NetGalley ARC read for me. I rated it 5 stars. This was such a cutesy, fun read that was so different for me. It had magical realism, and I will say that some of the people who read it was irritated by the talking bees. Yes, it has talking bees, but it was done well. And I was impressed because when I first was signing up for ARCs, I was just trying to get any and all of them. Since then, I've learned that I don't like ARCs or don't prefer ARCs. I just rather wait for the finished copy. But a lot of people had issues with the talking bees, and I'm like, that's what the book is about. So why would you even read it? But my favorite quotes were, we can complain that rose bushes have thorns, or we rejoice that thorn bushes have roses. Love that. Then another favorite quote was, we thought we had our whole lives ahead of us, but we managed to squeeze a lifetime of happiness into the years we were given. Another one of my favorite quotes was Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. That verse tells me it's okay that I don't understand. I'm not supposed to. My next favorite quote from that book was, you teach people how to treat you. And that is something that my mom has been screaming and preaching to us since we were kids. To this day, she still uses it. You teach people how to treat you. And then my last one was Know Your Worth. This book was so good. It had so many encouraging nuggets in there, so much inspiration, while telling a cute, fun story about talking bees. Let me see if I can give you the synopsis. So it says, the summer of 1969, a feat many said was impossible. One woman struggles to achieve something she thinks is impossible, living a happy and fulfilling life. Rennie Kingsworld isn't at all what she expected when she married the hotshot baseball player from her small town. Reeling from the loss of her newborn son, she desperately needs the support of her husband, but instead of providing comfort, he is becoming increasingly angry, often turning that anger on her. When a glowing bee lands beside her, Rennie senses she needs to check on her beloved beekeeper uncle. That bee stirs long forgotten memories of a childhood lived close to nature, a connection she lost over time. As the summer progresses, she finds both the bees and her uncle advising and encouraging her. While healing from her loss, she gains the courage to break free from the husband who becomes increasingly violent. With help from her family, her friends, and of course the bees, Rennie dares to hope that she can build a happy life for herself and opens a business that could provide a path to independence. But starting over is hard, and as the heat rises that summer, so do tempers until everything comes to a head the night the astronauts first step onto the moon's surface. Hope-filled and infused with magical realism, Bees in June captures Rennie's journey back to her true self. Now, this book was so good, and reading that kind of helped jog my memory. Like, it is about self-love. It is about finding yourself when you have lost yourself and loving others, or lost yourself in loss and death and grief, or lost yourself trying to, just be everything to everyone else. This book was really good. I would recommend immersive reading, only so you can hear the bees talk in their little voice, and I feel like it would help the flow of the book better, just because, like I said, you can hear when the bees are talking versus the characters, and it just helps to give that kind of magical feeling to it. I would highly recommend Bees in June. It was I did not expect all the encouragement, the enlightenment packed into a story that seems so silly, talking bees, but it was done really well. So kudos to her. She did an amazing job. Y'all, please read that book, add it to your TBR. Okay, so the next one up is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Gave her 5 stars. Y'all, that book was so good. It gave me all the feels. This was my first and only book that I read so far by Kristen Hanna, and I said, wow, wow, wow. I was immediately captivated by Lenny's story, or rather her family story. Having never been to Alaska, I enjoyed experiencing it through Lenny's eyes. Although I'm not sure I could survive that lifestyle, I was fascinated to read about it. I devoured the first half of the story. This book really stands out because of its complex characters. They're so well written that you'll feel conflicted about them. The main character's struggle with mental health will make you feel a mix of emotions, from hate to sympathy to frustration and compassion, and even more heartbreaking because they are victims of abuse. But what really makes the story pop is the addition of really charming side characters, a sweet romance, events happening. The author does a great job of exploring the fears of the Alaskan community and their desire to protect themselves from the outside world. It's a pretty universal human fear, and it's fueled by one character's paranoia and delusion. So this book was so good. So good, y'all. Okay, so had to kind of jog my memory. So the 13-year-old girl and her mom are constantly being moved around because of the dad. He went off to work, came back completely different, and just something random can happen one day that he didn't agree with or that he fears, and he's like, okay, we're moving. And so they were always moving around. So when he lost another job, he decided to move them to Alaska, where forget it, we're just going to live off the grid. Well, he doesn't know much about living off the grid, so you can just imagine how that sets him off as well once they move there, because you're having to build the things that you need. There's not a plethora of grocery stores and things like that. A lot of things there are built based off community, where they help each other out, where people, hunt and fish, and he's not about that life, but yet he picks his family up and moves them there. He's also abusive to her mom, and so she has to deal with one minute seeing him be so angry and aggressive and abusive towards her mom, and the next minute they're in love again. And so she grows up seeing this, and then one day things just take a turn for the worse when he takes things a little too far, and just things hit the fan. This book was so good. There were a lot of times that I wanted to strangle the mother. There was a lot of times I wanted to just shout at her, like, girl, get a backbone. Your daughter is watching and witnessing all of this. But it was such a good read. Would highly recommend her book. Would highly recommend this book, and I cannot wait to read her next one. I think the other book that I want to read by Kristen Hanna next is called either The Women or The Nightingale, or also Four Winds. The Four Winds. Let me know out of those 3, out of the Women, The Four Winds, and Nightingale, that I should read next. If you have read any of Kristen Hanna's books, which one of those should I read next? The next one up that I read is only available via audio. I read it on Audible, and it is a short story, or a novella, whichever you'd like to call it, y'all. This novella was so good. Another short read that had so much packed into it. I rated it 5 stars. Wow, this book was so good. It is, what would you categorize this as? A thriller? I would say a thriller. It says Marty Greenwood has just moved into a brand new home after a bitter divorce from her husband, Emery, and while she's still not quite done with him, of course, some of her most cherished possessions are nowhere to be found once she unpacks her things. A fresh start A fresh start in beautiful LA neighborhood is exactly what she needs, but days after her arrival, Marty is attacked in her home. She's found shaken and beaten. Her neighbors immediately call the police. She never saw the face of the attacker, so there is little to go on as the detective opens an investigation. But Marty will do whatever it takes to find her assailant. It did say, please note that this contains strong language, distressing situations, and descriptions of violence that some listeners may find upsetting. And I'm so thankful that she put that trigger, because this book is very stressful. It is very like edge of your seat. Like, oh my gosh. It is violent situations. I go violent. I just was surprised at the detail of the violence, but for me, it was not unbearable for me to read. I think it just added to the thrill of the story, and I really enjoyed this book. What I just remembered, my memory was jogged when I read this book, was that yes, Marty was attacked, and there comes a part of the story where I don't even want to give it away, y'all. It is just so good, and it's a fast, quick read, a great palate cleanser if you're in a reading slump. Would highly recommend this. 10 out of 10, 5 stars. I want to read more about her just based off that one. I'm like, girl, you are a thriller writer. Like, that book was so good, and it's kind of what jump started me into wanting to read more thrillers, because I'm like, I've been so stuck on romance my entire life. Started leaning towards historical fiction, and I just kind of was stuck there, like, I put myself in that box of that's what I like to read. But now your girl been dabbling into fantasy, historical fiction, contemporary fiction. You know, I'm branching out, and I'm enjoying my reading experience that much more. Okay, last but not least up on the list is The Overnight Guest. I rated this 5 stars. Noni? No. If I'm not mistaken, this was a book club read with the official chapter chat, or it could have been Brandy's Booked and Busy book club over on Fable. Nonetheless, this book was so good. Rated at 5 stars. I said this was a new genre for me, so I was skeptical, but it did not let me down. I was kept on the edge of my seat. So many twists and turns. The writing flowed beautifully. The storyline was expertly woven together with the subplots and the supporting characters. Although the culprit's transformation caught me off guard, I was left with some answered questions about their motives. Still, it was a super engaging and thrilling read that I would recommend. Y'all, this was so good. So it says here, true crime writer Wally Lark doesn't mind being snowed in at an isolated farmhouse where she's retreated to write her new book. A cozy fire, complete silence, it would be perfect if not for the fact that decades earlier at this very house, 2 people were murdered in cold blood and a girl disappeared without a trace. As the storm worsened, Wiley finds herself trapped inside the house, haunted by the secrets contained within its walls, haunted by secrets of her own. Then she discovers a small child in the snow just outside. After bringing the child inside for warmth and safety, she begins to search for answers. And boy, do things turn up after she finds that kid outside. I want to say it was like a really bad snowstorm, and the kid was like either without clothes or beat up pretty bad, just laying in a fetal position in the snow. Once she lets that kid in, everything just changes. That would be a good movie too. I'm not sure if it is, but would definitely be a good movie to watch. But that is it. That is all from part 1 of my top reads of 2025. Have you read any of these books? Are you interested in reading any of them? After watching this video, did you add any of them to your TBR? Don't forget to let me know if you are a Kristen Hanna fan, which of the 3 books I should read first out of The Women, Four Winds, and Nightingale. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope each and every one of you have an amazing new year. Please be safe, make good choices, think and dream big. I will see you all in the new year. God bless you, and per usual, don't forget to show yourself some love today.